Woodchucks. So we'll go on to woodchucks, and if you have more questions, please send them in. Woodchucks are a herbivore, and they're 100% hibernator, hence Groundhog Day. So a woodchuck and a groundhog, the same animal. Just two different names for the same animal. Mamona monax is its Latinized name. They live in families, the female with the young, and they're diurnal. They come out and sun themselves. They're not nocturnal like the opossums or the other animals. They dig a hole that's about 8 inches in diameter, and they go back 20 foot under your shed, under a barn, or into a bank. And then they have an escape hole that they kind of plug with grass. So it's a real big hole. And there is an area that you try to flood it, it won't flood. And you can't put gas in there because they have that vent hole. However, they can be trapped. Their problem is that they love to eat vegetables. They love zucchinis. They love corn. Now, they don't fight back unless they're cornered. If they're cornered, they will fight back a dog or cat. They can't climb very well. So if a dog or cat corners them in your yard, they will fight back. And they could put quite a bite on. Or if you try to corner them in the back of your yard, they will put a fight on. Otherwise, they'll run. Now, the family of the mother is in one hole with the babies, and the male has another hole. And then they have several close families. And they only have 1 litter a year, only 3 to 4 young. And they don't mate for another 3 or 4 weeks when they come out of hibernation. And so then it'll be 24 days after that before the young are born. So it won't be till May or June before the young are born. And they'll go out and they'll get all these fruits and vegetables and bring them back in. They're not much of a tree chewer on the base of a tree. They want fruits and vegetables. And they will dig down for sunflower roots, tubers like that a little bit. But they dig like this. They don't have their whole body go down, even though they can dig well. They're very leery about new things in their environment. So if you're going to trap them, you have to use an opaque trap or use a burlap over the trap. And what I always do is I use baling wire, and with baling wire, I wire the trap open. I put it next to their hole, and I wire it open. And I put a half a cucumber, a half an apple in there. And I let them steal it every day for a week. We call this pre-baiting. Because then they're used to running in, getting their food, and running out. Then I take the baling wire off. And that 8th day or 9th day, it runs in and it's caught. And so that's the best way. The other way you can catch them, you can use another opaque trap or use a wrap burlap around it. But when you wrap it around really tight, then sometimes the mechanism doesn't work. And you can put it right in their hole and put dirt around it, but not enough on it that you hurt the mechanism. And so then they think it's just an extension of their hole. And if it's a two-way door, you can catch them. But you have to make it look like it's an extension of their hole. And then you can do the first day. But I'll tell you, if they don't get caught that first day, they'll push your trap out and bury it someplace. Usually right around the corner. Any questions about opossums or woodchucks? Yes, we have a question here.
Well, if opossums are nomadic, why couldn't you take it somewhere else to reduce that without it?
Excellent question. The question is, if opossums are nomadic, why can't you translocate them? And the real reason is they want the law to be uniform. So biologically, you could translocate opossums and they would be fine because they don't have territories or anything like that. But when Game and Parks made up the regulation, they didn't want to accept this one, accept that one, accept this one. And the same thing done with the 100 yards. It's actually, for a raccoon, it'll be 500 yards, but they wanted to make it just one law uniform, so they took the smallest denominator.
So here's a question from the audience, outstate audience. Can opossums bother sweet corn, or is it just raccoons?
Mainly just raccoons. The sweet corn would have to be very low hanging, and because an opossum probably could, but probably would not climb a corn stalk, and they can't grab and pull like a raccoon. And even though they would eat corn, it's not their preferred diet as it is to raccoons.
What about woodchucks?
Woodchucks would want the corn before it was dry. Woodchucks will try to pull the corn stalk down, and woodchucks will go for sweet corn especially. Again, they won't climb, they'll try to pull the stalk down. And they like it before it dries out.
No more questions here.
Of course, with the woodchuck, they're in hibernation by October, pure hibernation. So if it's after October, it's got to be something other than woodchucks. Another question here. Go ahead.
What's the penalty for breaking the law by, say, relocating a possum?
The question is, what is the penalty? It's probably, please don't do that. Okay? And actually, if you did it, the other thing is, there's only so many conservation or COs officers in the state. They have a lot more to work on than the regulation. And the main reason, so when it comes to opossums, it's against regulation, but there's no consequences. However, I ask, even though you probably have no consequences to you about moving raccoons, it is a slow, agonizing death for the raccoon. So in that case, I would ask not to do it. But if you're giving the information out as part of a master gardener under the University of Nebraska, we have to only give information out that is in regulations within the state. So
there's a question about, what do woodchucks eat?
What do woodchucks eat? They're herbivores. They love fruits and vegetables and roots. Roots of vascular plants and forbs, not tree roots. Woodchucks don't chuck wood.
They're also called whistle pigs.
Right. That's why you get groundhogs, because they live in the ground, and when they snort, they sound like a swine. That's how they got their name, groundhogs. Has anybody here tried groundhog? No one here has raised their hand. I guess no one here has had ground pork. The comment was, I have to stop the puns and keep going.